Mother Nature played a silly joke on us today, but we weathered the storm, and here we are.
The Dan Yorke State of Mind program is brought to you in part by Lookout Rhode Island and Takeo Comfort Solutions.
Welcome into my State of Mind. I am pleased and honored to have you aboard. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just, you know what? Ignore it, because it can't last forever. Even though we were playing golf in January, and then it's nuts. Hey, you have some library books and stuff out in the Providence Public Library? Well, guess what? There's a way to make good, so stay tuned. In this segment, we will tell you about that. And coming up, Ted Nesi will join us, the WPRI Digital Standout Reporter. We'll talk about Gina's week, and it was a week, that is for sure. And some politics, too, because it looks like we've got an announcement, some of which we shall cover in the rundown. So come on, let's go over here and talk about it. Yeah, it was not good. It was not good, it was not good, it was not good. Here was the first headline on Friday is the you people are too negative thing turned into the we got to do something about this thing. And the governor accepted the resignation of the marketing guru at Rhode Island Commerce Corporation who came from Boston. And I guess she had to take the hit for this, even though I'm learning that she really had nothing much to do with that. She might have had some things to do with the coordination of the marketing campaign with the public relations firm, which was fined $100,000 or had to give back $100,000. The video firm, you know, the advertising agency, Indie Whip, I believe it's called, in Providence, that actually did the video with the Iceland clip, well, they had to give their money back, reportedly. It was just kind of a mess. But what's interesting is Cooler and Warmer is done, Cooler and Warmer is out, but the logo remains. And it's a very strange conversation from the governor. Here is some of the press conference that we took on the radio side. Got a little video mixed in here, but this was what she said on Friday regarding the continued use of the logo without the Cooler and Warmer.
People are really engaging with it, and in the sale, there's a lot of white space. And people are using that white space to make it their own. And that's what needs to happen now. Use the logo, use this opportunity to make it your own. I'm sure you all have your favorites. One of my favorites was the Olneyville System Wieners. They used the white space to put their own logo and talk about wieners and coffee milk. That's fantastic. Let's keep that coming.
I think they were joking. Okay, I think they were having fun with you, Governor. But what you've done in this press conference, I listened to it 4 times. What she said was, listen, we're going to put out a little social media kit and you guys can kind of have fun with it. Now, if we're just making suggestions as to do with the logo, like another 2-word, I guess it's going to be another 2-word rhythm thing. It's not going to be Cooler or Warmer. It's going to be this or that which is not really a scrap of the whole thing and a go back to zero, which I guess is because her ego won't let her do that, because what we ought to do is be going back to zero. But when she says, hey, listen, Olneyville Wieners can use it, seems to me that means any business could use it for commercial purposes. Like, I don't know, maybe some strip clubs. Why not? So let's use the logo for any particular purpose. I checked with legal analyst Lou Palmer about what she was saying.
It's opened up a Pandora's box, and the long and the short of it is if the state governor who represents us is saying that we all can use it, then we all can use it. And she sure as heck can't say yes to Olneyville Wiener Man and no to strip joints and marijuana processing plants. I think that she's bit off more than she can chew with that invitation to the general public.
So she's popping the marketing guru for a bad rollout. She's all upset about the mistakes, and then she has a press conference which is designed to be a mea maxima culpa, which ended up only being a mea culpa, not a maxima culpa, because she's still sending out confusing information. There'll be more this week. It ain't over yet. Switch and go. Yeah, so Karen McBeth, the state representative from Cumberland, the Democrat, switched to the Republican Party last week. You saw this headline. Now, as we produce the program, don't tell anybody, we record this program late afternoon. You see it at 7:30 on Myra ITV and midnight on Fox Providence. She's reportedly running for this guy's seat. That would be the congressman. I'm trying to figure out what's going on here. So she left the Democratic Party, joined the Republicans for a couple of days, and they were all kind of cheery, like, okay, the fighter, the House Oversight Chairman for 38 Studios, who lost her chairmanship as soon as she left the Democrats because House Speaker Nick Mattiello wouldn't put up with that nonsense. according to him, right? So she's going to buoy with her equity gain, with her leadership, will buoy the Republican state caucus and really fight the state issues as a Republican. No. She's going to run for Congress, which makes some of what she did at 38 Studios look a little less sincere and more mercenary. Listen, professional politics is okay, but this one just kind of feels weird, especially since she's got no money and no organization. And if she gets beat by David Cicilline by 20, 30 points, what was the kamikaze mission all about? I'm open-minded. We'll have her in ASAP and talk to Karen, who I enjoy, but I'm confused. Are you? Of course, the guy who confuses us all the time is our friend Donald Trump, right? Headlines in Wisconsin. He and Ted Cruz shift into gear. Of course, Kasich's going to get 20%, and that's what really bothers Donald Trump. He says that he had to get out because he's stealing my votes. Speaking of worst weeks, it was a race between Gina Raimondo and Donald Trump for the worst week ever.
I don't know that it's been the worst week in my campaign. I think I've had many bad weeks. And
On TV and in print, Donald Trump did the unthinkable and unusual. He expressed regret. He told New York Times columnist Maureen Dowd that retweeting an unflattering picture of Ted Cruz's wife, Heidi, was a mistake.
Was this my best week? I guess not. I could have done without the retweet, et cetera, et cetera. But I think I'm doing okay.
Trump also attempted to clarify comments he made about punishing women who seek abortions.
Well, I as a hypothetical question, I would have rather asked it, answered it in a different manner, yeah.
On Face the Nation, Trump stated the obvious about where things stand, but searched for an answer about what abortion is.
At this moment, the laws are set, and I think we have to leave it that way.
Do you think it's murder, abortion?
I have my opinions on it, but I'd rather not comment on it.
Ted Cruz quoted conservative pundits, especially those opposed to abortion, who he said now rightly question Trump's core beliefs.
Donald's answers are the answers of someone who's a liberal, trying to say what he thinks conservatives want to hear.
Later Sunday, Trump insisted he had been misunderstood.
And I took that answer, and I didn't like it because I think a lot of people didn't understand it. Women go through a lot. They go through a tremendous punishment of themselves. And I didn't like because I wasn't sure if people would understand it. So I clarified it.
Trump is now battling to win Wisconsin's 42 delegates, but says John Kasich, running a distant third, is complicating those efforts.
Kasich shouldn't be allowed to continue, and the RNC shouldn't allow him to continue. And Kasich has more of an impact on me than he does Cruz, in my opinion.
Well, that's true. Donald, can I ask you a question rhetorically, because you're not going to respond? Why is it that every time you say something that was really, really clear to us, you don't think we understood what you said? I think everybody's pretty clear. Every time you say something for the first time, we understand exactly what you mean by it. When you put your foot straight down your throat, you try to explain to us that we misunderstood what you were trying to say. No, we didn't. And as far as the RNC not allowing Kasich to run, there's a thing called the Constitution. Perhaps you should read it. Just saying. Okay, so how many of you believe the weather guys? Now, listen, I don't know what Tony and team did. I'm sure they told you that there was a good chance for 3 to 5. But on the radio, I heard about 10 o'clock that it was over. There's only an inch on the ground. Well, I came out of the radio studio, weekdays noon to 3 on WPRO, and found myself digging. And so these guys can't play. It was only raining at Yankee Stadium, so they said, but it was the rawest of rain, so that's postponed. And then, oh, by the way, Lexi threw this in because she wanted you to feel better. That's what baseball is supposed to look like. But let's not kid ourselves. You don't see that until June anyway, up here. Spring can be awful raw. By the way, the Sox were also canceled. Let's make it an equal opportunity situation, right? We have a cancellation notice of some kind there. Right? Oh, no, I'm sorry. We have the weather forecast from Cleveland. That's right. By the way, in July, it's going to be a lot hotter. That's where the GOP convention is. Don't worry, Virginia, there will be baseball, and there will be spring, and you'll find your golf courses and your flowers under the snow somewhere. Hey, Ted Nesi is going to come up momentarily to talk to us about the retribution part. That is, everybody trying to make a comeback on cooler and warmer. But you have some amnesty. Look at this headline. and we shall talk about it. Return overdue books, get local discounts during Providence Community Library's Amnesty Week. Michelle Novello is the program coordinator for the library in Providence. Welcome.
Hi, thank you.
I am almost petrified to find out what the owage is. What is the owage?
It's astonishing, staggering as a matter of fact. We are owed overdue missing items, 12,043 items.
Items.
Items. 12,000 items.
Not dollars, accumulated for like 7 or 8 items. 12,000 items.
Valued at.
I just want to make sure I'm not, you're not Donald Trump trying to say something very clear and I don't I misunderstand.
And if I put my foot down my mouth and I need
right,
to.
exactly.
Yeah, okay. The value of those 12,000 items is over $190,000.
That's not right.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it?
How's that happen? I forgot to bring my book back.
You forget but if you get that we have 55,000 patrons, I mean, we have a lot of patrons. We have 9 libraries, and people, the kids, the mom, the dad, the books, the CDs, you forget you don't have it, you don't get the notice, and then boom, suddenly you've got fines accumulating.
Well, there's a way to get Amnesty. Bring in a canned good.
Absolutely.
For $20 worth of that value.
That's right.
All right, so do the math. If you owe $100 in the book, bring us 5 cans, and you're good. You're going to wipe the whole thing out, not even prorated?
Yep. It's just an opportunity for people to come back and be able to use their cards, come back into the library. Last year we collected almost 1,000 pounds of food for the Rhode Island Community Food Bank. So it's kind of a win-win. You get to start using your card again, the fines get eradicated, and we get the library patrons back able to use all the stuff, and the food bank.
Well, here's the good news. You have 55,000 people that are still using the library on a regular, or at least signed up to do so, right?
Right.
What's the usual traffic that comes to the library?
We had last year 741,000 visits.
That's awesome.
It's a lot.
People still reading books?
They're reading books. We actually had an editorial in the paper where somebody complained that it was too loud in the library. Actually, it's a vibrant hub. We have programs, we have kids after school racing for the computers. We have 200 computers. It's high energy, high level, and always active.
I always find that when you walk into a library, it feels soulful. I think it's soulful. Maybe not spiritual, but soulful. The mind begins to move when you're in the library.
It's very cool, and you've got our staff who's so caring. They know the circumstances for the individuals. They take care of them. Crackers in their desk to feed a kid who might not have had food or not going home till much later.
You mean the librarians are fun?
Librarians can be really fun.
All right, well, bring your stuff in. We have to bring you back and talk more about some of your programs on a longer segment. Will you do that when it's not snowing?
That would be so heavenly.
A canned good for every $20 of owage, and some of you are Major League scofflaws, so go load up on the canned goods, and you have until when? Saturday, if I'm not mistaken?
Till April 16th. So the week is
Saturday,
April
April
11th to April 16th.
So it's next week.
It's next week, and then on the 16th we have a big celebration at Mount Pleasant Library with Cheer Brigade and some performances and a raffle. So
All right, cool. Thanks for your good work.
Thanks.
Good idea. Thanks for coming in the snow.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. When we come back, Ted on Gina's really bad week. Stay with us. So a reminder of what the week was, Friday.
The slogan of cooler and warmer is now gone. The state's chief marketing officer is gone, and the state is getting back more than $120,000 from the local PR firm Havas. Let's go over the chain events that brought us to today. On Monday, the state unveiled their logo and slogan of cooler and warmer with incredible pushback from Rhode Islanders. The new tourism website also had inaccurate information, and then it came to light in the state's promotional video that Iceland was featured. Then Betsy Wall, who now was the state's chief marketing officer, in an interview with WPRO, said she didn't know what Gatsby Day is, and she has since resigned. And the governor says that $120,000 will be recouped from that local PR firm.
It is clear to me, one of the things I've learned from listening and engaging with people is there should have been more public participation in this effort from the get-go.
Ted and I are sitting here trying to figure out what Gatsby days are. He doesn't know. He's fired.
Yeah, I'm gone. That's a joke.
We're kidding.
We've seen what can lead
April
from that.
Fool's was last Friday. By the way, it's the Providence Community Library, not the Providence Public Library. Didn't you know that?
I did, because I'm a proud user of them. You know what? One of the great things they have now, just brief pitch for the library. I always love libraries as a nerd. Is you can actually
as a what?
As a nerd.
Oh, okay.
You can actually take out a book on your Kindle now, or your iPad or whatever. You can get the ebook. The library buys them, and you get them 3 weeks in there, so you can take them with you on your mobile device, which I think is pretty cool.
It is cool. Technology is unbelievable.
Amazing, right?
Even young guys like you are excited about it.
Look at me getting all excited.
It's kind of cool and warm.
Here we go.
Gina's worst week ever?
I certainly think that was the worst week of her governorship, or I guess maybe her political career, I guess you'd say. Yeah, I think it was just all the things that are maybe problems for her politically, seeming out of touch, seeming to dig her heels in, having not maybe the pulse of the people, as well as clear implementation management problems all came together. It festered for a whole week. I mean, it was an extraordinarily bad week.
You were the first to write on your epic blogs there in coverage. I mean that with all sincerity. You wrote that internally they were fretting, and I was beginning to think, great, I'm glad at least we're sourcing some anxiety, because I was thinking they were all bulls in a china shop, all just trying to double down on defense and would have really run themselves into a really, really bad place. When did they start to recognize that oopsie daisy?
I think it was. So they thought Monday night into Tuesday, which is the slogan comes out, they thought, all right, people aren't maybe loving cooler and warmer, but we can make our case, and maybe, people will listen, that we have research, it'll work, whatever. Then the video, the Iceland video. Then maybe they're getting a little more nervous, but not yet realizing, this is good things going to 11. I think then when the website had all those problems was when which is about Wednesday, they started to say to themselves, okay, this is way out of our control. Like, this is now looking, in their opinion, probably looking worse than they think it is internally, but regardless, they had totally lost the plot in the public space. And by Thursday, what was interesting to me was hearing privately from people who like the governor, who want her to succeed, who were beside themselves, both upset that this was happening and they think was going to damage her, but also with the response from the administration, thinking that the bleeding could have been stopped earlier than Friday at 5:30, but that's a decision they made.
They get the resignation of Betsy Wall. She didn't know Gatsby. I wouldn't have popped her for that, but obviously the cumulative impact of this. Yeah. Although I'm learning that the cooler warmer is not her gig anyway, that she comes in post haste. So I think there should be more excellent journalism on this to actually lay out who knew what, where, and when. How many people do you think inside the administration actually looked at that logo, chose that slogan, accepted that from Mr. Glazer, Mr. I Love New York, and thought, wow, this is the cat's meow?
That's one of the questions I have, and actually it's something we've been working on today. Perry Russell, my colleague, who you heard there on our coverage last week, is sitting down with Stephen Pryor as we tape this in the afternoon. He'll have that interview tonight on Channel 12.
That would be the Commerce Secretary.
The Commerce
Stephen
Secretary,
Pryor,
the boss.
who talks like this. He's from Yale,
Betsy Wall reports right.
He's cool and warm at the same time.
Right to him. And so hearing from him about what they saw, because she did say, Betsy Wall, that the slogan, she made it sound like before she was fired that, or before she gave her resignation, that this had been cooked up before her arrival in December, which makes you say, well, who was involved in the vetting and the discussion in the months?
And how many options did they have? The guy didn't come back with just one.
Yeah.
And they couldn't see, they got $20,000 back, right, from the video firm, they say. They're getting $100,000 back from the PR firm, I guess, because they didn't help to coordinate all this the right way. But they can't ask Mr. Glazer for $400,000 because they had to be cooperative, because there had to be options all the way that was shown to them. They couldn't point to him and say he was incompetent. They bought his act.
Yeah, well, they also, I mean, they argued to us, Betsy Wall all through the week argued they'd done research. We never saw, and I'm not claiming they didn't do it, but I never saw any details about that, but they said they surveyed people and this got a good response. And that might be the case, but for one thing, that probably should have been publicized more to try to make the case to people that this was going to work better than you think. But again, I think that it was over for them by Wednesday. Once the website, again, Iceland, maybe you could survive people hating the slogan and the Iceland video if after that it was smooth sailing. But the website thing just made people say, these people, they don't have the first thing together. And then I do think the Gatsby Days thing was damaging because it fed the narrative. And anytime it feeds the narrative, it's bad.
Right, but you shouldn't, when you put a tourism campaign slogan together with a logo, the people that you are promoting, meaning the state of Rhode Island's folks, shouldn't have to ask the question, what does it mean?
Right, and especially since Wall told us during the week that 30% of Rhode Island's tourism dollars are spent by Rhode Islanders. Coming, you know, you come from Providence to Newport, you go up to Borough, whatever.
You pack a lunch.
Yeah, exactly. You go off somewhere. So
you know.
that actually took away from their point that, well, maybe Rhode Islanders aren't loving it, but it'll work outside the state. It needed to work in the state, too, based on her own arguments.
How does she recover? We'll talk about that and get Ted's perspective on this potential congressional run. Not hers, someone else's. Stay with us. I found it ironic, Ted, that Governor Raimondo pulled back the marketing campaign at the State House stateroom, the place that she should have introduced it, with the right kind of fanfare, with the right kind of rationale, with the right kind of details on the research, with the right kind of big-time rollout that she thought 5 o'clock commerce meeting, throw it on the table. You don't even show the Commerce Board members. I mean, this is not just the marketing gal's problem. This is a communications problem of the utmost level.
I also think the bigger question that was raised by the last week for them is, are there deeper management and implementation problems in this administration? We saw how the tolls thing had to keep being revised on the fly. They tell us, you know, it's these trucks, and then are you sure it looks like maybe those trucks too? No, and they change it and all that. And so that's going to be something I think people are going to be watching more closely.
Well, when you're running on concepts, because you want to put concepts on a resume that's more satisfactory to a national reputation than the diligence that you need to do to get the job done in the place that you're working, these things happen sometimes.
Flip side is, I don't think you're going to look good nationally if you keep failing at home.
Well, the national people who continue to promote her actually need to do a little diligence and figure out what's actually under the hood, and perhaps that would be a plus. Anyway, by the way, you may want to look at, she suggests that people ought to use the logo, you know, and it's nice, you know, for crayons with the kids, I guess, but the truth of the matter is when she just suggests that commercial businesses, like Oneyville hot dogs, ought to use it, that might be nice, but when a local strip club decides to do it, that's a little bit of a problem. She still doesn't have her act together, and I guarantee you that that logo will be gone in 2 weeks' period of time, because, you know what, they came together. You want to kill the campaign, go back to square one, right?
Yeah. But then you got to pay for a whole new one.
Oh, so what?
Well, I don't know.
She had no problem spending $12 million a year to recover for 38 studios. You know, sometimes you just got to take a lost leader and say, you know what, we blew $400 grand, we'll try again.
Yeah, you're right. The logo is something to be watched now. Does it quietly, or do they never say it's gone and get a new logo? It just, you don't see it anymore.
Karen McBeth, state representative, Democrat in Cumberland, 38 studios, oversight chairman, goes Republican for a couple of days, and then she says, I'm going to run for Congress. Your quick take is?
Uphill battle for her, obviously, because she's a Republican in Rhode Island, and these are just very strongly Democratic districts, and in a presidential year in particular, the Democratic vote usually comes out. That said, in the year of Donald Trump, I think we've seen that sometimes the conventional wisdom can be way off, so it's up to her now to show she can harness something that Brendan Doherty, John Laughlin wasn't able to. I don't think any yet. She doesn't have an account yet.
She got any team?
She has a woman who sent us the press release today, so at least one person's working.
Well, there you go. Is it the former marketing director?
No.
No?
No, I haven't. She hasn't popped up quite yet, but
always great, man.
She'll bounce back. Thanks for having me.
Nesi, no introduction necessary. Goes to the library and loves Kindle on iPad.
Yep.
Final word when we come back. Tomorrow night, our new Ed Commissioner rejoins us. He's delegating power and authority, which I think instinctively is a good idea. Will it be harnessed by the educators in Rhode Island? We'll talk about it tomorrow night. See you on the radio at noon tomorrow. Bye.